Welcome to the deep dive. It looks like Viktor Frankl's work, specifically Man's Search for Meaning, has really struck a chord. We've got the excerpts you sent, plus the foreword by Kushner and the afterword by Winslade.
Yeah, fantastic material. Frankl's story is
Oh,
that's incredibly powerful. Merging his Holocaust survival with developing logotherapy, it gives such a unique view on finding meaning.
absolutely. So our mission here is to really pull out the core insights from Frankl, Kushner, Winslade, the whole package, and see how these ideas about meaning might, connect with life today.
Sounds good. Where should we start? Kushner's forward.
Let's do that. Kushner jumps right in, doesn't he? He highlights that key Frankl point. Even when everything else is stripped away, you still control your response.
That freedom of attitude. And he frames it immediately. Fulfillment isn't just about chasing pleasure or power. It's actually about meaning.
That sets the stage perfectly because Frankl's own experiences are the foundation for all this.
Exactly. You can't separate the theory from the life, especially that life.
Right. So, part one, his time in Auschwitz. It's hard to even imagine, but that's where these ideas about meaning under duress really formed. The arrival itself, it was systematic, wasn't it?
Oh, completely. It was designed for dehumanization. Lose your belongings, your hair, even your name, just a number.
Yeah.
And that selection process, life or death on a whim, total
It
cowerlessness.
was brutal. An assault on identity itself.
Yes, stripping away everything that made you you.
And yet, from that absolute low point comes this incredible assertion, maybe the most famous quote about the last human freedom being the choice of attitude.
It's profound, isn't it? It's saying, you can control my body, my circumstances, but not my inner response. That's retaining agency against all odds. Frankl saw it. He lived it.
Then you get into the life in the camp descriptions, the sheer grind of it, forced labor, starvation, disease, just constant suffering.
Unimaginable hardship.
Yeah.
But Frankl knows something interesting about who endured.
Yeah, it wasn't just about physical toughness.
Not always, no. He saw that people who clung to some kind of purpose, like hoping to see a loved one again or wanting to finish some work, maybe even just bearing witness, they often had a stronger will to live, a deeper resilience.
He talks about himself holding on to the image of his wife
Right.
and thinking about rewriting his lost manuscript.
Exactly. Those weren't just daydreams, they were lifelines. They gave him a why, a future to aim for, however slim the chances seemed. It shows how powerful that internal world can be.
This drive for meaning, it's almost primal.
That's what he argued, yes. The will to meaning.
He also breaks down the psychological impact, doesn't he? The stages the prisoners went through. Shock first.
Yes, the initial shock of arrival, the sheer disbelief. Then, as the horror became routine, many slipped into apathy.
A kind of emotional numbness.
Sort of an emotional death, yeah. A defense mechanism, maybe, just to cope with the constant trauma and loss, shutting down feeling.
And then after liberation, it wasn't just instant relief and happiness.
No, it's surprisingly difficult for some. Depersonalization, feeling like an observer of their own life, sometimes bitterness, readjusting to freedom, finding purpose beyond just surviving day to day. That was a whole new challenge.
It makes sense. The trauma runs deep.
Absolutely. True recovery needed more than just getting out. It needed finding a new reason to live in freedom.
This is where that Nietzsche quote he uses feels so potent. He who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow.
That really captures it, doesn't it? It sums up everything he observed about meaning being this, like, shield against suffering. If you have that why, you can endure almost anything.
Okay, so that experience, that observation, it leads directly into part two, logotherapy, therapy through meaning. Let's unpack that.
Right. So logotherapy's core idea, what makes it different, is what it sees as our main drive.
Okay.
Well, Freud, he focused on the pleasure principle, seeking pleasure, avoiding pain. Adler was more about the power drive, striving for superiority. Frankl said, no, the fundamental human motivation is the will to meaning, this deep-seated need to feel our lives have purpose and significance.
So it's not just about feeling good or being top dog. It's about feeling your life matters.
Precisely. And his big conviction was that life always holds potential meaning. Always. Even in suffering. Our job isn't to, invent it, but to discover it in our circumstances.
And we always keep that freedom to choose our attitude towards whatever happens.
Always. That's the bedrock.
He gave three main ways we can find this meaning. The first is work, right? Or doing something significant.
Yeah, creating something, achieving something. It could be your job, a passion project, raising a family, anything where you feel you're contributing, making a difference, using your talents, that satisfaction of accomplishment.
Makes sense.
The second way, through love. experiencing something or encountering someone, deep connections, relationships, romantic love, family bonds, close friendships, being truly seen, valued, and caring for others. That's a huge source of meaning for most people.
Absolutely. And the third one, this is the one that can seem counterintuitive, finding meaning in suffering.
Right. And it's crucial. This isn't about wanting to suffer. It's about finding meaning when suffering is unavoidable.
How does that work? He uses the example of the grieving parent helping others.
Yes, that's a powerful illustration. You take your own pain, your own tragedy, and you transform it by using it to help others facing something similar. The suffering isn't erased, but it gains a purpose. It becomes part of a larger story of compassion or growth. It's asking, given this awful thing, what positive action can emerge?
Turning suffering into achievement in a way.
In a way, yes.
Yeah.
Or into deepened understanding or connection.
This ties into his ideas about the existential vacuum, doesn't it? That feeling of emptiness some people have, even with material comfort.
Exactly. He saw this as a modern problem. People achieve success, they have things, but still feel hollow. Like, is this really it? Boredom, depression, addiction. He saw these often stemming from a lack of meaning, this vacuum.
A void where purpose should be.
Yeah, a sense of aimlessness.
And logotherapy's approach isn't asking, what do I want from life? Which is how we usually think.
No, it flips the question. It asks, what does life expect from me? What tasks, what responsibilities, what opportunities for meaning are right in front of me now?
That's a major shift. Puts the onus on us to respond.
It's about responsibility, absolutely. Which brings us to that famous idea of his.
The statue of responsibility.
Yeah, balancing the Statue of Liberty on the East Coast. His point was that freedom demands responsibility. We're free to make choices and therefore responsible for those choices and for finding the meaning within them.
Meaning isn't just handed to you, it's discovered through responsible action.
That's the core of it.
Okay, let's bring in William Winslade's afterword. He really connects Frankl's ideas to today, right? To our world of anxiety, maybe nihilism, materialism.
He does. Winslade points out how relevant Frankl still is. In a time where people are often chasing, the next acquisition or fleeting happiness, Frankl's focus on inner meaning feels more vital than ever. That existential vacuum Frankl described feels very contemporary.
And Winslade emphasizes, like you said earlier, that logotherapy isn't about dodging suffering.
No, impossible. Yeah. It's about transforming our relationship to it, finding meaning in the suffering, allowing it to foster growth rather than just crush us.
It's a perspective shift.
A huge one, turning unavoidable suffering into something meaningful.
And Winslade circles back to Frankl himself. His life is the ultimate proof of concept, really, showing human dignity and hope can exist even in the absolute worst conditions.
It's undeniable. He didn't just think these things, he lived them. His survival and his subsequent life's work are just this incredible testament to human resilience and the power of meaning.
It gives his words so much weight. We should probably revisit some of those key quotes that capture these ideas so well.
Definitely. They're incredibly concise and powerful.
Like, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. That just nails the internal choice aspect.
Mm-hmm. Control what you can't control, which is always your inner world, your attitude.
And this one. Suffering ceases to be suffering at the moment it finds a meaning. It sounds almost like a riddle, but it explains that transformation.
It does. Once suffering has a why, its nature changes. It's no longer just random, pointless pain. It becomes part of something larger.
And maybe the most defiant one. The one thing you can't take away from me is the way I choose to respond to what you do to me.
That's the ultimate declaration of inner freedom, isn't it? No matter what external forces do, that core choice remains ours. Inviolable.
So wrapping this all up, the big takeaway from Frankl, Kushner, Winslade, it seems to be that meaning isn't optional. It's like the deepest human need.
I think that's exactly right. It's the engine.
And even when things are incredibly tough, even in suffering, there's always this potential to find light, to find meaning, by choosing our perspective and taking responsibility for how we live.
Perfectly put. It's a demanding philosophy in some ways, but also incredibly hopeful. It empowers us, even in powerlessness, a timeless message.
It really is. So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. If meaning is discovered, not just invented, what might the specific circumstances of your life right now be asking of you? What meaning is waiting to be found there?
That's a deep question to sit with.
Definitely something to mull over. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.